Welcome to week five. My computer just blipped out and now it's back. Welcome to week five. I apologize for all the confusion over the weekend. Life happens, right? I don't think anybody's too upset about me moving the deadline back a couple of days. Some wonderful discourse communities. I really have enjoyed reading them, even though I was commenting pretty briefly. Um, when I look at the revisions, it usually takes me a week to really go in and take a look at them. So don't panic if there's nothing happening soon. One thing about Brightspace that people have noticed is there is always a zero with the grade. That's just how it works. It just means that there's no grade there. I just haven't put the grades up yet. The one that says the end of the term, the course grade is also this sort of this rolling cumulative thing. So it's going to be an F till the end of the term. Don't worry about it. That's just a Brightspace thing. So don't panic about that. One of the things we're starting on unit two now. One of the interesting things about discourse communities is that I think most of you have found, I'm just going to use the gym people as an example. Once you kind of get to know the language and how gyms work, you could go to any gym anywhere and be able to talk to people, get involved, and you would feel like, it's part of this larger discourse community that you're part of. But everybody really, and the thing that makes those interesting for me to read is that everybody's gym is a little different. You feel that's the home, right? It's a place, it's a living thing. And people come and go, new people join, people leave, experts come in, they build themselves up. So it's a place. As that's part of the discourse community. So what we're going to be doing for unit two is sort of going there. We're going to broaden out our lens, as we say in the film, widen our lens, as we say in film. You do not have to do unit two about the discourse community in unit one. Let's just get that clear. You can do something completely different. But this is about a place. Places are things, and we're going to talk about, places. We're going to write a portrait of it. It's going to be first person. This is not a research report. It is not a research report. It is not a research report. I'm going to say that 9,000 times, and somebody's going to give me a research report. You do have to do some research about the place so we can kind of get a feel for the history of it, the context of it, but it doesn't have to be formal research at all, and it shouldn't be written like a research report. This is you, okay? Again, this is you in the world, in the places that you either know or would like to know something about. Um, what's interesting about this one in particular is it can be someplace very small, it can be like the corner deli that you hang out at. It can be something, much bigger. Like I had a student last term write about Montmartre, which is a section of Paris, and she's a flight attendant, and she's been going there for years off and on. So she had all these pictures taken over time. So she did a little bit of the history of Montmartre, which is enormous because it's Paris, it's France. Um, but she was mostly interested in how it's changed with the tourists and social media. And there's my cat coming home, and there's my cat leaving. Um, he's helping with renovations on one of the apartments upstairs. He's a big help, right? Anyway, she wrote about the impact of social media and a bunch of other things in tourism on that area that she loves so much. So it can be very big. It can be a place you've never been before. You want to learn something about. For example, a couple of years ago, I decided I wanted to know more about the Court Street area in Brooklyn, which is where the courts and there's a plaza and there's, all this stuff on downtown Brooklyn, Brooklyn Heights. And so I went over there and I hung out, did a little research to find out some of the history, which is fascinating, where those buildings came from, who's been around, what the statues were in the plaza. And hung out on the benches and listened to people talk and started talking to people. And I learned so much about that place because it is a living thing. It has a past, it has a present, and maybe a future. So that's what you're going to be doing. Now, I got a lot of materials for you on this one, but all comes down to the one place that you want to talk about. So let me share the screen again. And here comes the cat. Um, I'm sorry, he's playing Thunder Kitty this morning, so I'm just gonna have to put up with it. Okay, so we're going to go to Unit 2. Um, that's the wrong thing. I want to go. unit two. Back to the whole thing, right? Here we go. So here's the assignment sheet. Pop this up. Here's the assignment sheet. I'm going to go over it with you very quickly. Again, this is sort of, what are we going to be doing? Things you're going to find out. It's a portrait of a place, and people do portraits of places the way they do portraits of people. Uh, and it could be anything. Here's some things you'll be finding out about that you can put in your article. Who's there? Why are they there? Who isn't there? Are there people that don't go there? What's the history of the place? How does it fit in with the community that it's part of, like that corner deli? What's the rest of the area like? Are there people who hang out there all the time? If you have a place that you go a lot, you'll see the same people and they talk to each other. It's like a whole community in that one place, and they're focused on being there to get coffee or egg and cheese bagels or whatever. You can talk to them about their history in that place, what people have thought about it in the past. So there's all kinds of things you can put in your article to create a sense of what it is. It can be a neighborhood. Um, it can be a spot with some history, right? I had a student some years ago write about just a statue that was in a park. It was just interesting because she did a lot of talking to people who came to look at it, and pretty cool. It could be a well-known place. I had a student do Coney Island, mostly as a way to talk about raising her children. So she talked about it over time, right? It could be here in New York. It could be anywhere in the world. Could be, from your home country, any place. Okay. So this is essentially a feature article. Um, it's one that you find they're all over the place, even in videos. It's not hard reporting. It's not an opinion piece, except vaguely. It can, like the student who did the thing on Walmart, and she talked about how social media was kind of wrecking the place. So she had an opinion and she was making an argument about it. But argument is sort of always part of it because you're trying to persuade people of the importance of the place, and what it means to people and history. So these are the conventions of the feature article genre. Um, Again, we've talked about genre. I'm sure you talked about it in 1101. A genre is a sort of a category. And like horror has the genre conventions of jump scares and creepy music and, you know, you expect a horror film to look like. So a feature article is full of sensory details, quotes, dialogue, sense of energy, just like you did with your discourse community. So it's the same kind of language. Lets us get to know the place itself or someone who's important to that place. I did have someone who went to do, I think it was a restaurant that had been the cornerstone of our community for a long time, and started talking to people and found out about the person who started it, who had owned it and had passed it down over the years, the decades to her family. It was pretty interesting stuff. So it became as much a portrait about the woman who had started the restaurant as it did about the restaurant itself, although that was all part of it. It can tie to the place to larger issues like community and history, kind of like that one. Why was that restaurant important? Well, it was a gathering place for the neighborhood, particularly for that particular culture. Can be first person, can be objective, can be third person, but it should still feel very personal. Um, has images. Now I've had students do this who they didn't have images, but they painted such a nice picture with words that it didn't really matter. But pictures are great. This is sort of, your chance to go out and get your phone going and taking pictures of things. Um, it has a hook to catch the reader's attention. What we call a nut graph, which is sort of the first paragraph or someplace at the top that says why this place is important, why this place matters. And gives us a hint about what we're going to be reading. It's got images, it's got lots of information, some research, some interviews, personal observation, and a conclusion that reinforces what's important about the place. So these are the things that you're going to be looking to put in your own portrait for Unit 2, portrait of a place. Now I've got some examples I'll show you in a second. So this is sort of the procedure because we're going to be doing this for the next few weeks, right? So we're going to read about why place is important. I may as well go to perusal and look at it. Where's home? Okay, so why place matters. There are three parts to this, three short little articles to read. So read all of these. And where am I? assignment sheet two. Um, that's not what I was looking at. I guess it was. Okay. Um, some examples, read about what makes a feature. I think there's some in there about features. Some examples. Um, you're going to talk a little bit about why place is important on a Padlet. Then you're going to tell us, what you've chosen on a Padlet. And then you're going to go to the place, right? Or you're going to talk to people who've been there. I have had some people do things about their where they're from, and they can't go back there, but they talk to other people who grew up there or spend a lot of time there. I have double numbers here for some oddball reason. But if you can, the best thing to do is to go there and just observe, jot down impressions, talk to people. The research you're going to be doing is of two kinds, primary, which means going there, taking pictures, talking to people, getting some quotes, writing things down, right? Describing it in your notebook. Use all your senses like you did in the activity in Unit 1. And then secondary research, it can be articles you find about the place, any past history, what other people have said about it. So it's a little research, then going to write a draft using description and what research you've turned up and explain the place's importance. And then we're going to workshop it just like we did one. You're going to revise it and then put it in Brightspace. And so, here's the audience awareness. I want to see some idea that you've done some research. I mean, you did research in 1101, but this is using research for something that matters to you. It's like, I don't know how many of you have you've wondered about something and you got on Google and you kind of went down the Google rabbit hole. You just kept clicking and clicking. So that's this kind of research, right? You're going to be finding out stuff. And then sentence level, just make sure we can read it and it's interesting. People worry about how long this is, but nobody has ever come in short. In fact, most people tend to go on at some length, and it's due the end of March. So we're going to be working on this for quite a while. So that's the assignment sheet. Um, Now, just to show you some, that's wrong. Just to show you some other things. Um, okay, back here. These are some student examples. I'm not going to open them. You can. McCarran, the one about McCarran Skate Park. She didn't have any pictures. I don't know why I told her to, but she didn't. But it's still nicely written, and you can see the skate park. And then one was it's like a tour of Greenwood Cemetery. And it was a lot of pictures, really fascinating, a lot of dialogue and conversation and stuff in that. So there's a couple of student examples from my classes. These are my students. Okay. Um, Now, if you go over here to Perusal, um, there's three parts of this, and this will sort of give you a feel for why we're doing this or why place matters or what it's all about. So there's three sections, and none of them, again, are terribly long. So read and annotate them. Can't wait to see what you think. After you do do that, you'll go over to the Padlet, which you can get to here. Okay, what do you think about the readings? This is just a little reading response Padlet. You can also get to it through here, all right? Same thing. I know I have links that have links that have links back here, right? So that's why place matters. And here's some examples. This is from the New York Times. This is a really good feature about a section of New York, part of New York. This one is from another course. But it's just such a cool place that the student wrote about. You're going to want to see it. It's about Cadillacs that were upended in the ground. Yeah, trust me, it's fascinating. Okay, so there's some examples. And then let me see where to go. Where did it go? Which way did it go, George? Okay, that's the Padlet. You'll come up with your own, your own place. And here's the link to the folders for putting up the drafts. Now, these are materials for research, okay, that you can use. You don't have to cite them. This is really how to go about doing it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to jump over here. Sorry about that. This is about how to write a feature article. So this will give you some setup about introductions, how to structure it, how to add words, sounds, and smells. It's, it's none of again is very long, but it should give you some good ideas about how to write it. and the things that you can do to make it just sort of jump off the page. I'm back over here. Okay. And then I've also got these about just how to do it. All right. Guidelines for writing a place profile, how to collect information, how to sort of develop the themes. The thing about doing portraits of a person or a place is that some overall idea will sort of jump out at you, like why it's important or why this person's important, or something about the place. Like my student who did about Montmartre, about how social media is kind of wrecking the place, making it an uncomfortable place to go. And then here's a questionnaire, some questions that you can, I'll show you. Open up, open. Here's some questions that you can use when you go talk to people in these places. I'm going to refer to these again next week because we're not quite there yet. But here's some really good questions about what to ask and what to ask yourself, what to ask the people that are around you that are in that place. Okay, so these are interview questions. This one's a really nice one for you to kind of, put on your phone or print out and have in your hand while you're going and observing stuff. So that's materials. So that's just one of them. Again, they're all really, really small like that. I'll go back, back up. And okay, so that's all this stuff. And then this is the assignment link. Now ignore this, I can't get rid of it. Maybe I'll spend a couple of days trying to figure out how I got that here. It's not supposed to be there. Okay, so just ignore that one. I don't think it's in 0451's site, but it shouldn't be there. I was trying to do this, which I did. And so they're right here. Okay, so let me do, now that we have the sheet, let me go through the schedule just to show you exactly what we're doing when. All right, because there's a lot of moving pieces to this, although it's really pretty simple. Okay, so this week is just reading. They give you a chance, this is going to give you a chance to finish up your unit 1 and get it uploaded into Brightspace. So this week you're going to be reading and commenting on this 3-part why place matters thing, and then follow the prompt on the Padlet, and then in Perusall read the examples of the profiles, and look at the student examples too. I should put that in here because I didn't, but look at the student examples. I think you'll want to anyway. Right, so that's all that's this week. Next week, read the section about writing a feature profile, and then tell us what place you've chosen, all right? And look at the tools thing that's in Brightspace and get started, right? Pretty simple. Week 7 is just doing field work and just checking in with me briefly to let me know how things are going. Week 8, so we have this week, next week, the week after, and the week after that. Let's see. We'll be doing the shitty first drafts thing like we did before. And that's all the same week. Take a week and then upload the revised draft. And then at the end, let me know on Slack, just DM me, or you can email me sort of a brief discussion of, about what you went through to get it done, sort of it's a self-reflection, I guess, on how you put this project together. So that's the schedule. Okay, so the simple thing and simple part is this week, all you're going to do is you're going to go read these and this, okay? And and do the Padlet responding to it. And if you want to keep going, you can. This is really pretty free form. But this is all you're doing right now is these examples and why place matters. And also I would suggest looking at the student examples too. I put them here so they'll always be available to you. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So everybody get going. As I said, I will look at I'll start the grading on the Brightspace this weekend. Give me a week. I usually like to leave a few more comments than I did on the shitty first drafts. But that is where we are. I hope you enjoy this. This is a really good thing. Students really get into this. As you'll see, this McCarran one was fairly short. The Greenwood Cemetery, man, he just went off and he wrote a lot. So, people really, again, have no problem meeting the word length. In fact, they say, can I go longer? And the answer is always yes. So I think that is where we are. Unit 2. And as usual, DM me or email me if you got questions or problems or concerns. And don't forget, now I'm putting this up on Thursday morning. I do have an open Zoom time from 3 to 4 today. Also, that's every Thursday, and also next Monday from 1 to 2. So you can drop in to see me any of those times that you want to. Or if those don't work, you can DM me or email me and we'll set up an appointment time and we'll Zoom and talk about things face to face. Okay, so that's it. And I will talk at you later. Bye.